Thanks for coming out. Move over here. Really appreciate it. Sorry about a couple weeks ago, I sat on the airplane for 5 hours, but we never moved. Happens sometimes. It takes a long time to get out here, unfortunately, even though it's only a 4-hour flight. What I want to talk about tonight really is primarily the middle school, but when we get to question and answers, you can ask me anything you want. Part of what we're really committed to, when I say we, it's me, my partner Rick Barreca, my staff in LA, my staff here, my staff in Utah, we're all working on this. We really want to keep everybody advised of whatever we can. If I can answer the question, I will. I think you're entitled to it, it's your town, and this is important certainly to us and certainly to you. One of the things that we've done, and you'll see this on the handout tonight, and I think it's really important, we've come up with a concept. I'm a techno idiot, but I've hired people who are really good at this stuff. We now have this system where we can give you information almost instantaneously as it comes up. And so what you'll do is you'll go on your cell phone, and Mayor, you get a flip phone, even that will work on this. You put in 484848 as a text. And then the word in the text itself, you put the word blue water all together. And then when you send that text, it'll send you to a prompt. And you put in your name and your email address and your cell phone number. And as information comes out, it could be daily on any project you want. You have a choice. You can hear about the St. Clair Inn. You can hear about the Hotel Harrington. We're going to go back, by the way, to the original name. We're going to call it the Hotel Harrington. Or the middle school project, or anything else that we're going to do out here in the county. You'll get that information as it comes out. And that way you don't have to leave your homes and wait for me to get on an airplane and come out and answer questions. So try to do that. It's on the flyer in a couple places, but hopefully you'll do that so that you can get information as it comes out. And when we start to open up, you'll be able to get additional information. Maybe we'll have an event that night or whatever, but you'll be able to get information that way. I'm just learning how to do it myself, but it'll help. So the middle school, the key part of the middle school for us was, what do we do with our employees? So we're going to need between the two hotels between 300 and 350 employees, and those are all new jobs. How many here, by the way, how many here worked at the St. Clair Inn at some point? Okay, it's like almost half the room. And if I said how many of you had a family member, it probably is pretty much the whole room. So we're going back there, although on a bigger scale. So we'll need a total of about 300 to 350 people total for the two hotels. Way more here in St. Clair than in Port Huron. And most of those are going to be in food and beverage, because we have 7 restaurants and 6 bars just here in the Inn. You have 8 venues to service events. So think about all the people you need to run that. Think about a Sunday brunch that could have 700, 800, 900 people at it. How many people you need to service? For us to have a 4 to 5 star resort, which is what we're building, we intend to make sure that the service for you is correct. And that service has to have people serving you. And you need bodies, and we want to keep that local. So we've talked to Baker College, we've talked to Riza. A lot of those, and I'm going to call them kids because they're the age of my kids. These kids that are going to be working for us, and when I say kids, it's mostly millennials in those areas. So your servers, your cocktail waiters and waitresses, your bartenders, dishwashers, these are all millennials for the most part. Not 16-year-old kids, but 22, 23, just getting out of college, just getting out of JC, looking for that first or second job. That's going to be a big part of our workforce, and a lot of them are going to come out of the community college, out of Riza, out of Baker College, and they either live at home, in the basement or wherever the parents put them at that age, or they're living in the dorms at Baker College. They need some place to live. Parents, you'll thank us when we do this. And what we want to do with the middle school is give them a place to live. And what we're going to really do with the middle school is create an apartment building for that workforce. It's workforce housing. We've named it Serviceable Multi-Dimensional Residential Project. That was a conglomeration of a bunch of people in my office having some fun. But that's what we're calling it. The middle school gives us, I think it's 42, Vince, so correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's 42 units. That really, the classrooms are going to become apartments. And we're going to show you some slides of some of the plans of what we intend to do. We think we can get this open hopefully about spring to summer of next year. Then there's some other parts of the building that we're going to use for different pieces. We'll talk about that also. But we really want to take this it's a really beautiful old building. Some of you probably went to school there, probably a lot of you. It's a great old building, needs updating, just like the Inn did, but not to that extent. But we want to turn this building into a live building. The other piece of it is it's close enough to the Inn where it's now walkable. So one of the things that is needed, I think, in this downtown is some young vibrancy. And taking a bunch of those kids, those 20s and maybe early 30s, and now having them live downtown. They're going to be walking around town, they're going to be walking to the restaurants, they're going to be walking to the mall, walking to the Inn, walking to work, because that's what they do. The kids, they're on their skateboards, or they're walking, or they're doing a lot of things other than driving cars. Now they have a situation where they can walk to work, and walk to eat, and walk to Palmer Park to relax. That's a big part of the millennial world now. The millennials all want to be back downtown when they want to walk. And so we're giving them that as well. So, Vince, you can flip. In talking about the walking part of it, so here's the middle school here. Here's the Inn. It's an easy walk right down Mulberry Street. Mulberry Street goes right to the middle of the school and terminates right in the middle of the mall. Another block and a half and you're at the end. So that's part of what we're doing there. We will have, I think down the line, we've talked to the city and we've played around with some concepts as to how to move people with cars. So I think we can flip to one more. The route, so everybody asked about parking, and now I'm combining the Inn and the middle school a little bit, but we've got a bunch of spots at the Inn now. You've got, between the two sides of the street, the west and the east, about 145, give or take, spots. After the road died, I think we pick up another 140 or so that are public, but the reality is at night, when there are events going on, there won't be a whole lot of street parking other than us, so we assume we'll have the majority of that. Then you have our employees. Now, all the employees will park up at the school, because there's plenty of parking up here for the employees. So all the employees are parking off site, which allows all of the parking between the street and our two lots here at the Inn. That's all parking for guests, and we'll valet everyone. So, and by valeting, it keeps people who don't know where they're driving out of the way, and keeps the traffic patterns that we want being used to keep them out of the residential areas. So if you're taking someone up here from the St. Clair Inn to the middle school, they'll go up fine, they'll make a left turn on 6th Street, and they'll actually go up Orchard and park in the back on 8th. That keeps them out of the residential. So all you're doing is you're going by the church, you're going in between the churches. And that keeps people out of the residential area. Now, who would be driving there? That would be the route if we run a shuttle bus to go pick up employees. Let's say it's a snowy day like tomorrow morning is going to be, and we need to pick up our employees. So the employees would park up at the school, and we'd send the shuttle on that route to go pick up, use a 14-person shuttle, and then you bring them all down because everybody's starting to work at the same time. Something that we're concerned about to keep traffic down and keep traffic out of the residential area. You won't have guests making this drive because the guests are going to get valeted. If you had a situation where you really had so many guests at a certain event that you had to start parking guest cars up there, this would be the route they would take, but it would just be the valet drivers going to and from. So that's the route we want to use for parking there, but primarily what you're doing is those 300 or so people are parking there and then going to work. They'll either walk in or we'll shuttle them up and around. This is the first floor, modified a little bit to show you the idea of what we're going to do. So these green areas in here, these now become apartments. And that's the workforce housing we're talking about. We'll show you, I think we have the other floors in here later. If not, that gives you the idea. Here, the old kitchen and the cafe. So this area here, the storage, we're going to take, we're doing all fresh baked goods for the Inn. And with all the work that we've done, we actually have an issue with space in the kitchen. So we're going to move the bakery to the middle school. So this area here becomes a fresh bakery where we'll have our bakers in there every day making the breads and the cakes and the whatever else that we're using for both the Inn, and then we'll have retail bakery across the street in the Starbucks. So the old gas station will be a Starbucks and a bakery with fresh baked goods. They'll come out of here. So this, you'll see some activity pretty soon as we convert the old kitchen into a full operational bakery. We need some storage space. We need a lot of storage space. So between the basement and some of these areas in the back and some of these other areas, we have the ability to store things. For instance, with 8 venues, think about all the tables and chairs that we need. They don't just sit out. They've got to be stored when you're not using them. So you're going to have 1,000 chairs or 1,500 chairs and 150 tables. This is a great spot for us. And again, it's an easy route. You run a van up, you pick up your stuff, you bring it back. It's right by the end. Before we have this ability, we're talking about using the basement at the Harrington, which is 8 miles up the road and a lot of traffic, and now we're able to do it up the street. So that's a big advantage for us. The other piece that's really important for us now is the gymnasiums and the old, I think this is the old library, if I remember correctly. So staging the hotel is probably something that most of you haven't thought about. There's 109 rooms in the hotel, 7 restaurants, 6 bars. Think about all the beds, the lamps, the chairs, every room, you've all been in a hotel, every room's got a bed, it's got a bed frame, it's got a mattress, it's got 2 end tables, it's got a desk, it's got a TV, it's got lamps, it's got a chair, it's got a desk, right, all these things. Well, they come in containers off of ships because it's all being made right now all over the world. We have to unpack it and take it out of its packing and put it somewhere before we can put it into the hotel. It takes a massive amount of space. So some of you may know that we have 3 rooms that are actually done. Because we need to do model rooms to go through that process a couple months ago. We were approved by Marriott the first day, which was great. It took us 3 days to unpack the 3 rooms. So think about unpacking this whole hotel and where we have to do it. Well, that's what all this space is going to do for us. These gyms and the library, you'll see all the containers come and stay outside in the parking lot area. There'll be probably close to 100 containers full of furniture that we then have to hand unpack and put somewhere. And what we don't want to do is we don't want to run it into here and start putting it into classrooms. Because once you go through doors, you start nicking things and breaking things. You want the big areas. So that's what we're going to use the gyms for, starting really, really soon, like next month, as things start to roll in here, so that we can unpack it and then move it down unpacked into the end. We have 4 or 5 huge trucks now full of some of the old artifacts from the inn that we saved that we're going to, reincorporate in. It's a tremendous amount of space that we need. So that's another great advantage for us because we were looking for a big warehouse to do that. In the Harrington right now, we're using the art van space just for some stuff, and we're taking up a tremendous amount of room. It's amazing how much stuff you pack into a 100,000-foot building. The inn is, by the way, the inn is bigger than the middle school. You may not realize that, but the inn's about 25% bigger than the middle school. So you're still talking about furnishing a building that's 25% bigger than the middle school, and we're not talking about using the upper floors, just the downstairs and just that portion. So even that's going to be tight for us. The last thing, we'll get to a slide on this, is we want to have some fun with the auditorium. You don't have a movie theater here in town. You do, but you can't use it. Ouch, I'm sorry. But we want to do some things in the community that are fun. And with an auditorium, why not have some fun? I'm a big theater buff, and I love the movies. And we're still playing around with some ideas, but we're going to do some stuff that's community-based in the auditorium. I think that's it on this slide. So here, what's going to give you just an idea of some of the concepts that we're looking for as to what type of units. Hopefully by now you understand that when we build something, we build it right. We certainly don't intend to build this any other way. We're not going to just slap drywall up here and throw a set of keys at our workers. We want to make them happy. Somebody asked me yesterday about something in my staff. My assistants, my 2 main assistants in LA have been with me, one 22 years, the other will be 33 next month, which I take as a compliment that they're still with me. One's longer than my wife by a couple years. It's important that our staff is comfortable and happy, because a good, comfortable staff is going to do better for you. It's going to do better for me. It's going to do better for you as a customer. So we want to make these places millennial-ish, because that's really our target market. I had heard a rumor about people worried about us busing people in. We're not busing people in. We're looking for that local kid who needs a job. And again, I'm not saying it's just kids. I'm just saying that the person who's going to live here is primarily going to be a kid. That's our expectation, and that's really the market that we're looking to build for. Not that it's not open to someone else like that. So let's pop another one. So here's the next couple. Here's how the 42 units lay out. They're small. They're 300-400 feet, but they'll have kitchens. They'll have bathrooms. We're playing with the idea because they've got some good height in there. We might actually put a little off level in some of them. Give them a little desk area up on top. Here's give you an idea of some of the layouts that we're doing. This is something that we're going to start relatively soon. We'll have once we finish the staging process and get the hotel open, then we'll focus on this. So I would say that we'll probably get in here and start really doing some hard work near the end of the year. And I think it's probably a 6 to 8 month job to get it open. Again, some other scenes, just some scenes from top, some fun with computers. But give you an idea, it's a little more modern, very youthful. We're going to have one of the bigger spaces that we had over here on the right side, and I forgot to mention, we're going to do some recreational centers for them. Ultimately, we'll put a gym in there as well in one of either the auditorium or maybe in the library, because our staff won't be able to use the gym we're building for the hotel. That's for guests. So we'll put a gym system somewhere in there so they have a full living experience. In the theater, I'd love to be able to figure out how to do a screen in there and maybe we have Tuesday movie night, not showing the Avengers because we'll never get that, but maybe you have Casablanca on a Tuesday night and High Anxiety with Mel Brooks movie on another Tuesday night, something like that, just for people. I'm not even talking about, we may not even charge for it if we can figure out how to do it. Just something, if you want to get out in the movies, we'll give you a place to go see a movie. I think it's important because you just don't have that here. And other than driving up to Sperry, I don't think there's another spot to do it anywhere close by. Something fun. I think that not just for the hotel, but I think it's important that we do that. We want to do outdoor things at the inn and the amphitheater that we're building, but now we have an indoor venue, and we can do some things indoors. I know that the Vertons wanted to do plays here. They're going to do it elsewhere. There's no reason why we still can't have plays here. So these are types of things that as we want to build on it over time. But what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to redo the theater. It needs some updating. So we will redo it to some extent. And these are some of the things we're playing with there.
Can you touch on the corporate business, how important this is?
Yeah. From a standpoint of if we can try to bring back that GM business, the Ford business, some of the other corporations, they want an auditorium bigger than what we're doing here today. So if you had 300 or 400 people and you had a speaker, someone clearly better than me, to talk to people, you've got that auditorium now. So from a business standpoint, we can book that room at the inn. We can do it here. They don't have to go up to the Convention Center at Port Huron. Convention Center Port Huron is beautiful, but it doesn't have they really don't have an indoor theater concept with a stage. So it gives not only here, but really the region, another area to throw a corporate event. We can house them, we can feed them, we can get them drunk if we want to, and we have a place where they can do it with the screen behind them, because we'll have the movie screen. Is this the last slide?
It is the last.
All right. So that is that's what we're going to do with the middle school. But I'm happy to answer questions.
Okay.
If you have any questions, raise your hand. I'm going to start in the front and just kind of work my way to the back.
I'm Bob Crory. I live in China Township, and I'm a member of the St. Clair County Pickleball Association, and up until just recently was playing in the gym through the St. Clair Rec Department. My question is, when you get through using the gym for all the furniture, could you consider leasing the gym to the Pickleball Association pleasure? We have 100 signed members and 34 active members.
Love pickleball. One of my best friends owns a company called Third Shot Drop, which makes pickleball paddles. I've got my own. I think it's the fastest growing sport in the country right now. So I'm definitely up on pickleball. In fact, we're going to be building some pickleball facilities in another state, which you'll hear about soon. But we're wide open. I don't actually know yet what we will do once we're finished using it for staging. I'm wide open as far as a mindset as to what we'll do with it and what I want to do with it. Haven't thought that far. My main focus has been on the workforce housing piece and the bakery, because those are things that I need now. We need that area for staging. When we're done staging and it's open, then we're wide open to ideas for it, and pickleball is certainly in that mix.
Okay, just keep us in mind, because now you have to travel to Port Huron, and it's the only course really available. And like I say, there was 30 or 40 active members, 5 days a week, all year long.
Fastest
growing sport in the U.S.
It is. So we'll keep that in mind with some of the other things. Listen, it is a fast growing sport. We just have to figure out what the space is ultimately going to be used for, and if it's going to be used for rec activities, that's going to be in the mix for sure.
Also, there is one court, a little gym, further to the south that is, in addition, you can go from one gym to the other gym.
Well, yeah, there are 2 gyms in the old library.
Yeah.
Right. Those are the areas we're going to use to stage the furniture.
If you're not using that, you could go in that one. It's only got one court.
Sure.
But one is better than none.
Again, once we get through getting the hotel open, we'll go, which will be by the time you'll need to go back inside. We'll figure something out.
How would you contact us?
If you pop into that thing I gave you earlier, go into that text, because there's a way I'll get that information, and text to 484848 the word Blue Water all together, and put your information in. We'll have your information, and that's how we'll be able to get information back out to you that way.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey.
How about the pool?
Oh,
Is that,
great question. The pool is under a lease with the city. That hasn't changed. The city has another, I think it's till 2033. Mayor, am I right? Yeah. Yeah. There's another almost 15 years left on that pool lease. So although we own it, the city is our tenant, and they operate that pool. We actually have nothing to do with it other than we own it. I think for $1 a year they keep it or something like that.
Right.
That'll stay there until the city either does something different or until the lease runs out, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do at that point. It's a long way away. But yeah, the pool doesn't change.
Okay. Speak now or forever hold your peace, as I say.
Hi, Jeff. I was just wondering, at the middle school with the apartments, will they be available for, like, say, a single mom with a child? Will there be any sort of child care available? Anything like that to help out a young lady that's trying really hard?
It's a great question. The intention is for workforce housing. So clearly, if that single mom works for us, then the answer is sure. I don't know. I'm not a Michigan lawyer. I'm a California lawyer. So I don't know whether or not we can not offer it out to the public. I actually don't know the answer to that. Someone's going to have to figure that out for me. So if it has to be offered to the public and somebody comes in and they're qualified, then yeah. If not, my preference is to have it for employees, because it's.
No, I'm not an employee.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, employee, absolutely, yes. Whether we do daycare or not, I don't know. If there's a need for it, we'd have to look into it. I'll tell you, quick quip. I had many years ago, when I had 11 lawyers in my law firm working for me, 9 of them were women. 5 of them got pregnant at the same time. Apparently there was something in the water. So we had. Within a 7-month period, 5 babies were born. I couldn't lose half of my litigators at the same time. So we put daycare into my law firm. I just took one of the offices in, we hired somebody, and we had daycare in the office. And then it got shut down because apparently in California, you have to be in the 1st or 2nd floor. We were on the 22nd floor. And somebody ratted us out, and we got shut down. So ever since then, I got burned. But I don't know the answer to that. If there's a need, then we'll figure it out. If we can do it legally, that's the part that I don't know. But we have enough space. And it's not hard to do daycare. You get a qualified person in there to watch kids, and it's a great thing. I'm all for it. Just have to figure out if we can do it. And it's a great question. I don't know the answer, but we'll find that one out.
Okay.
I got a couple of questions. First one is, you're gonna do all this in a building zone R1? The second question is the parking lots up on Industrial Park.
Okay, so we did lease parking up in the industrial park. I don't think we need them anymore. I forgot actually that we did that. Don't think we're going to need them because we have as much parking here as we need and it's already paved. So I think we'll probably, that was a short-term lease with the city. It was a couple-year lease. I'm sorry?
10 years.
It was an out clause in it. So we'll take a look at that, but I don't think we need it anymore. Because that was intended for employee parking. Now I have employee parking. That's your second question. The first question was, I forgot it. The zoning. Well, we have asked the city to change the zoning. If they don't, then I can't do this. But I'm hoping that they follow suit. It is I think it's the right adaptive reuse for this building. The school board was certainly concerned about charter schools and other types of things that they don't want going on there. It's one of the reasons why they did sell it to us, is it because we told them we wouldn't open up a school there. I don't need a school. I need housing for employees. The problem we have here is this is a relatively wealthy area, and when you have a bunch of, again, kids. I'm not being pejorative. They're kids because people in their 20s and 30s to me are kids. They need a place to live. It's not like you have apartment buildings and inexpensive places to live around here. We need to do that. This is not about us making a profit. The workforce housing is about us giving people a place to live that they can afford, in part based upon what we're paying them. So we're not doing this necessarily as a for-profit enterprise. It's not nonprofit legally, but from a reality situation, when we pencil this out, we're looking at charging enough so that it pays the bill, but enough that people can pay for it. But the city has to cooperate with us. We hope that they do that. The indications so far have been that they like what we're talking about, but they ultimately have to make that decision as to whether or not they'll allow us to do it.
Okay, anybody got any other questions?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Be right back.
Yeah, I have questions about pets. What are you going to do with allowing people to have pets there? And if so, where are you going to let their pets run there?
Another great question I haven't thought about yet. Well, there's plenty of runaround space, grass area for pets to run around. I have no idea. Actually, I haven't thought about that one yet. Again, I've got to look at, make sure that there aren't any things that prohibit it from a legal standpoint, because I hadn't thought about it. Typically when I think about people who work 10 hours a day, a lot of them don't have pets because they can't care for them. We have a dog, and we know we can't leave the house for more than 5 hours because dog has to go outside, and we don't have a doggy door because we're in an area where we have critters that are bigger than my dog, and I don't want a raccoon coming in the house or eating my dog. So it's a great question. Another one I'm going to look at right after Chrissy's question. It's good to bring that up, but I don't know.
I have a few more questions too, and then I gotta go. Also, what about smoking in the building? It's obviously none, or you're gonna have all these people that are still smoking outside all hours of the night.
No smoking in the building. No smoking.
They will be outside smoking, right?
Well, if they smoke, they would be outside smoking because they're not going to smoke inside. Yeah, but I don't know how many people still smoke. It's down to I think 13 million people. I think I read recently. Smoking's dying out. Everybody's vaping. Everybody's vaping now.
I understand. I'm just 200 feet from your volleyball court, directly across the street, and the traffic. I don't care what you're hoping for, praying for. It is going to be triple of what it is now. You might want them to carpool. You might want them to walk to work. I already know what that traffic's going to be on 6th Street.
Well, remember they can't drive to work because there's no parking at work. So they only drive into the site. The ones who live there will already be parked.
Yeah, and
But-
they will be traveling. They will be traveling to do other things. They are millennials.
Sure.
Have friends going places.
They do.
And there's gonna be a lot of traffic. And there's gonna be hours on, say, the volleyball courts and stuff about being outside. I mean, the thing is, it's a quiet neighborhood. I got my bedroom windows open. It's right on that side. I'm gonna be hearing car doors in the middle of the night. There are kids, millennials and that, whoever still go to the bars. It's not good for me. I lived here 46 years, and I think this is what's gonna drive me out of that area.
Well, I hope not, and I
really do.
hope that we're able to do it in a way that really doesn't offend you or cause you any trouble, and we'll do the best we can.
All right, and I see as of now, like, I'm starting to see that, like, some overflow from the inn, like wood and stuff that you're piling in the back of the school right now. I mean, are you gonna be using that to, I mean, all your overflow from the inn, putting it in the back there? I see there's wood and other things in trailers that you, from the inn, some of the stuff from the inn that whoever is stockpiling back there.
Well, during construction, yeah, we need space. There's no space for those items where we're building across the street. So yeah, we are using those areas right now for some overflow equipment and some things. Obviously, when we're done, that equipment and those materials won't be there anymore because we will have used them and they'll move out. So that'll get replaced by the staging, the furniture. Then the staging goes away, and then there's no more of that. But yes, right now we definitely need the space because there's no space on the sites for those projects. This is a major project, and there's just a lot of material and a lot of equipment. So we are using it for that.
I understand that. And also the parking, is that still gonna be on 6th Street?
The parking,
Along 6th Street?
there is parking along 6th Street, yes.
There's going to be.
Yes, there is parking along, there'll be employee parking along 6th Street, which is the existing parking, yes.
All right. I guess I've said enough right now.
Jeff's gonna.
I'm just curious, St. Clair is noted for its boardwalk, and I wonder if the boardwalk would be extended to the point on the north side of the Marriott Hotel. In other words, would the hotel be a part of St. Clair's boardwalk?
So it's a great question. We were talking about this a couple hours ago. The boardwalk, it terminates where it terminates now naturally. It's going to go back to where it was, and then there will be a walkway to the beach. We created a beach at the north end of the property where the seawall had failed. Now the seawall has been fixed. There's an area there where we have a beach going in with some rocks and some sand. The boardwalk at the inn is private to the inn. So if you are a guest at the inn or you're at an event at the inn, you'll be able to use the boardwalk. So there will be a keyed gate between the Palmer Park area where the pump house is and our property. And I'll tell you the reason. We went back and forth for years about this because the boardwalk will be identical. So it's the same wood. The city and I coordinated buying the same wood, so it looks the same. The guests can walk through the gate. The reason why we didn't make it fully public is because we're building an outdoor area for weddings and events. And can you imagine if somebody photobombed a bride as she said, "I do"? And you can't stop them. You can't stop people from doing that. We needed to have privacy for that. If you're creating one of the most important, I think one of the most important wedding and event venues in the region, you've got to have some privacy for people for photos. They get one shot at it. And so we decided in the end to keep that private. If you're a guest of the hotel, you're coming for brunch, or you're certainly able to walk around and enjoy it. But if you're just coming off the street, yeah, we're going to keep you out.
Okay, other questions? I saw some other people had their hand up. All right.
I got one about a rumor that I've been hearing about the old Edison factory in Marysville.
The old Edison factory. I mean, the old DTE site?
Where the old Edison plant's at in Marysville. Rumors going around about.
I've heard all sorts of things about that. I know that there's some tanks up there. I'm not sure what you want me to tell you about.
When did you bought it?
Oh, we have not bought it. We have not purchased the site. We have certainly talked to some people about it, but at this point, there's been no agreement made.
Okay, I was just thinking, Jim, how long is it before you're gonna have to use the gym? And could we use it until we get ready to use it?
We're gonna start using it now. I mean, we're already in there doing some repairs and getting it ready for the staging. So we're already in there.
Because the advantages are, if it's occupied and vandalism, you would know immediately. And now one day, there was a faucet leaking on the 3rd floor, all the way to the ground floor, and I walked 2, 3 floors up, and then I told Trice, and she called the plumber and fixed it.
We
Or
are.
you'd have the whole school full.
I appreciate that. We are in there daily. We've got people in there daily. We are starting some work with some heavy machinery, and quite frankly, can't have sort of unauthorized people run around. It's going to become dangerous from a standpoint of machinery, and as we're pulling things through and equipment. It just was time. We talked to the city, made sure that the city had another place for you guys to play pickleball, which I understand happened, and which is great. And that's we had to deal with the city up until a certain point, and now I think they moved you.
Other gym, we could use that.
Okay.
The school, the East China School District is going through a bond issue right now. Buildings that they're gonna close would be Eddie and Gary to go to the middle school. Are you interested in that?
So-
Are there any talks of that? I mean, that's gonna very close by.
Sure.
next bit.
The school board did ask us that if they decided to close Eddie, would we be interested in it? And I said yes. And what we would do there is the same thing we're doing here. We would add additional housing and use the space for really the same concept. We don't have an agreement or anything. They asked me if I was interested. I said I would absolutely do it. And that's about all. I know they're going through a bond. I know the vote's coming up soon. But if Eddie would become available, then we're certainly somebody who would like to buy it. I don't know whether they'd sell it to us or not. That's up to them, but we would buy it.
I just want to chime in quick on an old school conversion myself, Mayor Cedar, for the city council members. There's an old school in downtown Yale, if you've ever been up there, and they've actually converted that into a senior housing up there. Very, very positive. A lot of people, Mr. Ellery, you were there. You can't even tell it's, I mean, yes, it looks like a school from the outside, and when you walk inside, you would assume you're in an apartment complex. Questions?
I have another one. There's 21 acres that was recently sold on Clinton that's cleared up to the water tower. Is that something that you guys have, or?
I don't even know anything about it.
Right where the,
It's not us.
okay.
If that's your question, it's
Okay.
it's definitely not us. No.
Okay.
Okay, who else?
Connects to Eddie.
Just wondering when you're going to be starting to hire people and how you would go about putting an application.
We are probably going to throw a couple of specific job fairs. We actually have been talking about this a lot the last week or so because it's about time. We're finishing up getting our top line staff soon. We have an F&B director. We have a fabulous chef out of Detroit. We have Miranda, who some of you may have seen or heard. Paul's done a couple shows with her. Who she needs a boss, so she needs a sales director, which we don't have yet. Ryan Sheldon, who was going to be our GM, recently decided to take a different job, so we're actually going to get a new GM. Once we finish those and maybe 2 or 3 others, those are the people who are going to be doing the hiring in their different departments. We don't have a head of housekeeping yet, things of that sort. And we're planning on having all of that done by about tax day. And then we'll have some job fairs. Whether we run them as global job fairs or whether different departments run them, I don't know. But we need to have most of our staff hired by 3rd to 4th week in May. And so I would say stay tuned. A lot of that's going to come, and I'm going to pump it again. Another great reason to go on this texting thing that we did, because that's the type of thing that we're going to be announcing on people's phones. Again, you take a text the word Blue Water all together to 484848. I had to learn how to do this. If you need help, ask one of the geniuses in the back, because they figured it out. But that's the type of thing we'll be announcing, as well as whatever the other updates we are. But I would say we're looking at about 30 days from now, we're going to start getting a little hotter and start really advertising that it's about time. we've talked to Baker College, we've talked to Riza, talked to the community college. We're going to go there probably first for a lot of those jobs. We're hoping to get a bulk of those jobs through them for primarily the food and beverage. But not, we need assistant managers, you need managers. We need 15 bartenders. We need 15 bartenders, and we did our numbers. So it's a lot of bodies. Harrington's behind the opening of the Inn. The Inn's going to open up in stages. So we're still talking about having a grand opening in June. We're really pushing for the 11th. Don't know if it'll happen or not, but it happens to be not only my partner's birthday, but my 30th anniversary. So really trying to get it done that day because it'll be a great day. That'll be about half the hotel. And then over the next 30 to 40 days, the rest of the hotel will open up. Harrington's probably October. And we may do the Harrington in stages also. We may try to get like 2 floors open and the rest of it. So this summer is a big summer for us, and we got to hire all these people. So it's a great question. Great way to learn that is as we're doing it, but soon.
So what would your relationship with Marriott be? I mean, would they become Marriott employees, or what's the St. Clair Inn's relationship?
Sure. So I'll give a long dissertation in a couple of sentences. The flag, which is the brand that you use, is actually a marketing device. It's really all they are. So we pay them a percentage of our gross revenue to be our marketing machine. So the St. Clair Inn is what they call both of these hotels will be soft brands. What by soft brands means is they don't look like the other things you're normally used to. So you know what a Fairfield looks like because they all look the same. You know what a Hampton Inn looks like, they all look the same. A soft brand means you can take an old historic hotel, be inside that flag, but make it look like you want to and keep its name. So you'll have to look hard to see the word Marriott in the St. Clair Inn. It's still the St. Clair Inn, but on the bottom, and it's called the Tribute, which is the soft brand. The Hotel Harrington is not Marriott. It's actually going to be Best Western. It's a Best Western Premier, which is their soft brand. It's their top level of Best Western. So they're actually different, even though we're going to run them together. They're actually different flags. And that's just, again, they're just marketing things. It's about how much I pay these other 2 guys to go out and tell everybody we're here. The employees are ours. So there will also be a management company in place. The management company will run it for us. I can't run it out of California. So I hire and then pay a management company to manage it, but all the employees will work for us and just be managed by the management company. I hope that answers the question.
Does that mean they're not directly employed by you, they're leased employees?
No, they are direct. They are directly employed. So what's normally done is normally the management company is the employer, and then we use the management company's employees. We're not doing it that way. So people will work directly for us and then be managed by the management company. So in essence, the management company that I'm hiring, part of their job is to manage my employees.
Sir, the main complaint in my neighborhood is going to be the increased traffic and noise. And to Jeff's point, if you're within earshot and sight of that school, which is me and a lot of my neighbors are, this is much different than a senior center going in. Mm-hmm. You've got 300 young people, admittedly, coming in to live in what amount to dorm rooms. We live in the neighborhood. We are very concerned with all-night traffic and noise. But J Street is already a speedway from Riverside to 9th Street, because the kids know they can take that, do 40 or 50, and the police don't patrol it. They're sitting on Clinton or Riverside. So as much as I have talked to the police department about it, they still don't want to patrol the neighborhood. So that's our main concern.
Totally understood. No, let me correct a couple assumptions. I'm not putting 300 people in this building. It's 42 units. I'm putting 42 people. I'm not doubling them up. These are small one-person units. So you're talking 40. They're bigger than, well, they're
nice dorm rooms, I'll give you that.
I just got my kids out of college. They're going to look a lot nicer than that. You'd live in these, but they're one-person, not two-person rooms. So that's the difference. It's 40 people, not 300 people.
Yes, coming and going,
Well,
all night and day.
These are people who have 8-hour jobs, 10-hour jobs too.
20-ish.
Yeah, they are. And listen, they're allowed to have some fun too, but quite frankly, after an 8 or 10-hour day where you get up at 6 in the morning and go to work, get home at 5 and have dinner, you're a little tired on a Tuesday night. So I understand what you're saying. We certainly can't tell people when they're basically renting an apartment, you can't have people over. You can't tell them you can't have people over after midnight. I mean, those are things that, I agree. I don't necessarily, what you're talking about is sort of college and high school behavior.
People behavior, yes.
Well, I have a 23 and a 25-year-old, and they get up and they both work and they got jobs, and that's not the way they act. And I do have some assumptions that when these kids are working and have jobs, they're a little more responsible and partying a little less because they still got to get up and go to work in the morning, because if they don't, they're going to lose their job.
And they're paying for it themselves.
And they're paying for it. That's right. Their parents aren't paying for it.
Wouldn't they have to then move out?
I don't know if again, that's a legal question I don't know the answer to. If I can restrict it to only people who work for me, then I can put some more rules on that. If I can't, and I don't know the answer to that yet, then I can't. And that's what I don't know. But if you're not working there, I could certainly change the rent. If they're working for me or not working for me. Because again, this is, I'm not going to say it's subsidized, but it's priced for my employee. So these are types of things, and they're good questions and things I want to take into consideration, because we really want the people that work for us to be in there. And my expectation is that we're going to hire people that are responsible, not just for their jobs, but in life. And if we're choosing wrong, then shame on us.
And they're gonna live there year round, not like mapping out where the housing and that is used just for the season.
No, we're building a year-round project. Yes, we're building a year-round project. We expect people to live there year-round. But this is an apartment building, not a dorm. But I certainly understand your concern. And yes, there's going to be more bodies there than there have been. It's been a vacant building for a decade.
I think to answer the question was the migrant worker. That's all I've heard around town, how you're going to be bringing people in from all these other countries, right?
Oh no, that's not okay.
Let's call it what it is.
All right. Well, if that's what we're talking about, don't worry about that. We're looking to hire kids that are here. If we can't find enough, then maybe they come from Macomb County. But yeah, this is a Michigan business.
More questions for Jeff?
I just want to know if they lose their job at the end, will they have to leave the
Oh yeah, we just had that up here, but she didn't have a mic. I don't know the answer to that because I don't know what restrictions we can place on it. So I don't know. Our intention is it's for people that are working for us, but I may not be able to remove them if they're not. I don't know the answer to that yet, but it's going to be on my list of, I now have 4 legal questions I got to talk to the lawyers about after tonight that are all good ones.
Questions? Any more questions?
I just have a comment. It might make some of the residents feel a little better if maybe on the weekends, if you had maybe security.
Oh, there's going to be security
I'm
anyway.
not saying you need that.
No, there'll be security anyway. You have to have security, not just on the weekends. You'll have to have security in the building. I mean, it's going to be run like an apartment building.
I think the public wants to know too that you're not making Paul Dingaman homeless, that Channel 6 is staying.
I love Paul, and I say that, and I say that because I really do love Paul. Paul will be well taken care of, whether it's here or somewhere else. Paul will always have a place because I like sitting in that chair and talking to him. I do. So we'll be fine. Paul will be good.
You can have your room back at the museum.
Any other questions at all? Mike Laporte just wanted me to let everybody know he was buying dinner and drinks after this meeting here at the Voyage here. So big round of applause for Mike. I think he's gagging over here.
So, hey, Jeff, one quickie. Again, I love doing this. I have no problem. We really are committed to keeping you guys informed. I have no secrets. I'm an open book. I'll talk too much. If I know the answer, I will tell you the answer. But it's hard to put this together. I mean, I wanted to do it 2 weeks ago and got stuck on an airplane. So please, if you remember, not only should you go on this texting thing that we're talking about now, tell your friends, because it really is going to be a way that we want to use, even if it's daily. I mean, if you don't want to do it, you'll stop. But we want to get information to you, and we're really committed to it, and you're entitled to it. And it's a way to interact. And so if you do that, tell your friends and get on there, it really allows us to get information to you guys immediately. I'm not a social media guy. I don't know how to do it. My kids do it really well. I don't. But I hired a bunch of people that really know how to do it, and they will get you the information that you want. The rumors are garbage. you have a rumor, ask me. This is the way to ask me, because rumors don't do anybody any good. And I heard a couple in here tonight, not your fault, they go around the street, it's a small town. Just ask us, we'll tell you.
I have another question over here.
Have you hired a PR firm, and are they from the Detroit area?
So we hired the best PR firm out there. There's nobody better, and they are very, very local. And it's Senator Pavlov's firm. And he's got his group here, and they have done it, and they're going to run it. We're cameraed here. I'm mic'd up for it. That's who we hired, and they're right here in the Riverview Plaza. There's nobody that I want out there better than Senator Pavlov and his crew. And that's who we're using. And again, trying to keep it all we can local.
Any more questions?
Was that a place? I'm looking at Phil to see if he asked you to ask that.
So when you first came here, you spoke about businesses that could be in the mall. Like, what kind of businesses would go with, or is there someone that someone could communicate with? What type of businesses do well around a wedding venue atmosphere?
Sure. I've talked a lot about the retail experience for the Inn and my feelings on them. They're my opinions, and some people agree with me and some people don't, which they're entitled to. My background's in retail, which is why I think I know quite a bit about it. But with an event venue, obviously, the florists and the photographers and the hairs and the nails, things like that. We're doing that across the street. So we're doing a lot of that ourselves, but that doesn't mean there isn't enough for everybody. I think the type, when I go away with my wife Jill and we go to a resort for a weekend, just to get away for 36 hours, shopping is part of the experience. I'm not a golf guy, but I know that when people go out and couples go out and the man goes to play golf, the woman usually makes him pay for it by causing pain to the American Express card. If she doesn't go out and play golf, and then it reverses. But what we don't have here in town are those local knick-knack stores and artifact stores. I know what you're doing in the museum is going to give people a place to go. We need other things to go. You don't have a movie theater. We have a bowling alley, which is great. We have some other really good restaurants. We don't expect people to stay in the Inn and be there for 3 days in a weekend. They're going to get out. They want to walk around. They've got a fabulous park that's adjacent. You've got all of these things, but what you really don't have is that artsy, boutique-y store. You need more stores like what Marcella does. She's fabulous in what she does. You need a men's store like that. You need a lot of them. A half a dozen of them can do really well. And we'll put some of that stuff in what we're doing on across the street as well. But you need places for people to go and cause some pain to that American Express card. And it's all about the inventory. It's not about what it looks like. It's not about how pretty the store is. If your store is ugly and it's leaking and you have great merchandise, it's kitschy. It's fine. We really don't have that yet. You've had some stores move in. Like the wine bar is fabulous. I love it. They're already expanding, I heard. I went in there. It's awesome. And that type of thing is great. But it's another bar. And you've got some of the restaurants I heard that are coming into town, which is great. We need more restaurants. If we're going to bring a couple thousand to 2,500 people into town every week, which is what we think we're talking about, they need other places to go and eat too. There's only so many Mike can put into the Voyager, although I think he'll expand if he's getting that many. But what you don't have is that retail experience, and we still don't have that retail experience, and I'm not seeing that happen yet. And it's not secondhand stores, and it's not it's not things that you would need as a resident here. It's about that, you're not going to get the Gap here. You don't have enough demographic. So, but you can have a store that's got great clothing and great jewelry, or watches for guys, or poetic tiles from the local Indian tribe. Things like that. That's what I think we need here to sort of finalize what you have. You've got beauty. You've got phenomenal people. You've got a great community. You've got a lot of places to eat and drink. You've got 2 golf courses. You don't have a place to shop yet. So hopefully that answers the question.
Questions? Any more questions?
Wendy has one.
I
heard a rumor
Yep.
that you're gonna shuttle people to Marine City.
We talked about that as a possibility if we don't have if people want to shop, there isn't places to shop here. So if you're a guest at that hotel and you're spending a lot of money to be there, you say, I want to go shopping and I don't want to get in my car, yeah, we'll take you wherever you want to go. And Marine City has better shopping than St. Clair. Right, it just does right now. We need to fix that. And it's fixable. But right now, yeah, we would. I mean, if somebody asked for that, we would do that. We have to cater to our guest. And so if a guest says, where's the right place to shop? Then yeah, and they go there. Or Port Huron or some other place where they're shopping.
Questions? Any more questions? Oh. It's happy hour. The poor party, you're killing me.
Are you going to shuttle people to and from the airport, like before they had the shuttle cars or the shuttle buses? Is that going to be something that
Yes.
you do? Okay.
Yeah, we will have shuttles. So for those of you who don't know, we also own a hotel at the airport. We have a 272-room Delta by Marriott at the airport. And we've got 3 shuttles there. We have the advantage. Originally, before the Harrington came available, we were going to use, for overflow, we were going to actually use the hotel at the airport and move people back and forth and just create party buses. Now that we have the Harrington, we don't quite need to do that. But yeah, we'll have a bunch of vehicles that we will use to move people around. I really love the idea, and I've talked to Mike Booth about this, and we're still playing with it. We'll figure it out, about getting a trolley car in St. Clair and going, Marina as a stop, Palmer Park is a stop, the Inn is a stop. Maybe another stop is here for the housing and the employee parking, we just incorporate it, but just have a circle with a trolley car all day. Being a California guy, we have trolley cars. I love the idea. They're actually financially doable. And so we've been playing with that idea. I think Mike loves it. I know some other people in the city we've talked to do it. I think that when we get down to when we need it, that may be something you see next summer. It would just run that circle all day, but let's get people over to the marina where you've got the hot dog joint and Murphy's, and you've got the sandwich place and some really great restaurants over there. And I think there's some more businesses that can go in that area too and really invigorate that marina. Get them over to the park, which gives you both that and Riverview Plaza. Get them to the end, get them up here, and just run a circle all day. So that's something we're talking about.
Last call on questions. Anyone?
Yeah, because it's first call at Mike's.
So I would just like to thank Jeff for coming out and doing this, being very open.
Thank you.
And I can speak every time.